Good afternoon and welcome back to a dishevelled and slightly frustrated Ursa Ryan. I hope you're all very well. Oh, Civ 6. You gotta love it. So I'm not entirely sure of the order I'm going to put these videos up in, but to give you a little bit of an understanding, Civ 6 has, well, been screwing me around a little bit recently, ever since the delightful spring patch came in and changed up all of Civ and, well, pretty much broke the game. Yeah, so this 32 Earth playthrough completely broke. The file was lost, the game was unreadable. Thank you, Civ. That was really, really helpful of you. Like, honestly, I spent probably about 3.5, 4 hours trying to make the file work. It's something about the update. I don't know what it was when it went through. It meant that I couldn't open the game. Every time I tried to open it, it crashed. I tried updating mods, I tried reloading the game, I tried restarting bits, drivers, software. Like, I've tried everything. But I wasn't going to let it stop me. So just very briefly going across the map, you may be aware of the fact that this map is not entirely like the one we were looking at before. There's a couple of reasons for that. I actually restarted the game from scratch. Just sort of showing you around various pieces. I'll talk about various pieces in a bit, but I restarted it entirely, went from turn 1, ran it pretty much overnight. It's took me about 7 hours of game time to get to this point. And we're picking it up at turn, what's the button view? Here we go. Yeah, turn 151. You can see at the top of the screen. I don't know why I don't just keep this on. It's actually quite a helpful little sort of graphic, although it does give you the stats for Japan, which, well, they're going to be terrible, let's put it that way. So yeah, this is a new game. It is a completely different save file to the one that the previous videos were on. So there are a little bit of, well, there's a couple of differences, a couple of similarities, but otherwise everything was loaded in exactly the same. There are a couple of mods I've installed to get rid of the various garrison bugs, to get rid of various issues that have been there. Thank you very much all the subscribers and all the commentators who have put suggestions of mods and issues and things that you have to deal with. I do take note of all of that sort of thing, and I finally managed to get it working, and I thought, instead of just losing the series at episode 6 or whatever it would have been, I thought, you know what, let's just start a new game. You can see we've accelerated through to turn 151. It's quite fun. Let's dig in and see what's happening. North America is both similar and different in sort of weird ways here. You can see at turn 152, America is starting to produce things like tanks and helicopters, as opposed to the Kree's knights and Gatling guns and cavalry. So you can see there is a bit of a tech difference here. Weird, yeah, sorry, the Native Americans and Native Canadians may be out-teched by the America. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine, don't worry about it. But you can see Aztecs did not survive. It's sort of a combination attack between Brazil from the south and America from the north meant that the Aztecs were completely removed from the game, and America picked up quite a lot of that land actually, which was very good for them. America also, as we've seen before actually in the last game, managed to take the Kree capital, which for whatever reason seems to be a very easy target for America to take. However, America is still very much divided, not from a sort of America and Mexico split as in the real world, but from a sort of east against west scenario. So the Kree still with, a lot of western Mexico, California, I think this is Alaska and Oregon and Washington. Again, sorry Americans, my American geography is appalling. I'm not gonna pretend otherwise. Whereas America seems to have been in control, amongst other things, Mexico, Texas, Florida, New York. I mean, all the way over to. So I think this bit up here is Michigan, isn't it? And then these weird central states that I'm really sorry, I don't remember any of the names of them, but. It's a weird one. You feel like America, if America decided to turn on the Kree, the tech difference here would be what was going to push them on. I mean, these tank cores, a tank core will pretty much one-hit a cavalry unit. So I'm fairly surprised actually the Kree are still in this and doing so well. But there you go. Weirdly, religion also has not spread to North America. You can see not really any cities at all. So no Civ really aggressively trying to spread its religion in that way. I think we've only got like 5 religions in this game, so it's fair enough, but there you go. South America is a much more one-sided story, unfortunately, for Mapuche. We've always seen them having a little bit of a settling problem on this Chilean coast. the settlers, for whatever reason, get a little bit bugged and they get a little bit stuck. And they've very much been pressed to 2 cities, but you can see Brazil, this Mapu, this one here. So Brazil has taken at least 3 cities from Mapuche. And Brazil actually proving to be very, very warlike. Buenos Aires fell to them. You can see that they've kept this city-state up to the north as well. Is that Vilnius? No, São Luís, that's not that at all. So Brazil, hugely in control of South America, and actually are one of the strongest contenders for superpowers of the game. America are very strong, but there's a lot of cities here. I mean, Brazil are almost onto the stage where they're getting about 20, and actually Brazil and America appear to be in a little bit of a war at the moment. You can see down here, which city is this? Cincinnati is being attacked by the Brazilian special battleships. America, very strong, but doesn't appear to have anything in the way of a navy right now, but they are sending their tanks to the south, so this could be why the Kree are surviving, actually, the fact that America and Brazil are having this all-out skirmish war. Will Brazil take a couple of these sort of central cities, Cincinnati, New York? Down here, these are all sort of possible targets for Brazil. It's difficult to tell whether or not they will take them, but the problem is going to be loyalty, hanging on to them. And Mapuche, I mean, bless them, I get the feeling they're not going to be in the game too much longer. We might see Brazil unify South America, which would be fairly impressive. Africa contains one of the few city-states left in the game, and I think it's because the Zulus and Nubia keep getting to this sort of skirmish war here. Zanzibar, I think I mean, you can see it doesn't have many troops. I think it keeps getting killed and then liberated again. But you can see here, the one massive missing person is the Congo, completely swallowed up by the Zulu. Now, we've in multiple playthroughs here, we've seen the Zulu and the Congo just in some horrible blood war that goes, well, pretty much through the entire game, and that was no difference this game. The Congo getting swallowed between the 2 empires here. You can see, I think they might have lost a city to Nubia to the north, and then they've lost a couple of cities down to the south as well. So you can see Nubia, very, very strong position, has most of northern and central Africa, even spreading up. You can see Egypt. They took over Egypt, so Egypt again has been swallowed up. They've also managed to get themselves just about into the Middle East, which is fairly impressive. Actually, 2 cities in the Middle East. I think they did also have Cairo at one point, but that might have just flipped due to loyalty, so we'll see if Nubia can get that one back, but a very strong African power here. Zulus, a little bit hemmed in. They've got to, well, if they wanted to push out, the only real sensible direction they could go is north, and I get the feeling that Nubia would run through them if they tried to do that, although Cavalry Corps under the Zulus' hands can be incredibly powerful. But Egypt was no more. They couldn't survive against the might of the Nubians to the south, and that's fair enough, to be fair. Also Arabia, as you can probably see, is out of the game as well. Now, at one point, sort of as this game was progressing, you can see Sumeria here. Sumeria had a very big empire, all the way from Yevrin down to Isan and Nuri down here. So they probably had about 8 cities, and unfortunately for Sumeria, they are still in the process of being swallowed up by Nubia and sort of other various random powers here. You see, look, Greece. There we go. Greece is starting to spread a little bit. It's still very much penned in here, but yeah, they're not going to keep that city, and this city-state here, they're not going to keep any of these cities. This whole Middle Eastern and Turkish area is just swing one way to the other, one way to the other. It's been very, very, very tricky. Now I'm flipping over to Australia and Indonesia, because you can see Australia have just declared a war with Indonesia, which might be quite fun. But look, Australia, even on a second completely separate playthrough, still not settling New Zealand. So frustrating. Why won't you do it? It's got like a natural wonder and everything. It's so good. And all of these little islands as well. Even Indonesia not settling any of these little islands. I kind of hoped Indonesia would settle all the way out here, and then it would just be amazing. Look, you stick a city on that bit, right? And all of these tiles can have their sort of coastal improvements on them. Yeah, they'd be really strong. Really strong. I don't know why they're not doing that. But anyway, Australia and Indonesia now at war. Indonesia very much behind in tech, actually. You can see Gatling guns and field cannons are the ones that are in caravels against the might of Australia's. Well, they do have caravels, but they also got tanks. And they've also got battleships. So you can't help but feel that if Australia want to take out Indonesia, they will. you can see Indonesia actually, once they got off their main island, have done all right. They took Kandy, they've taken the city here. It's actually 2 cities here. Wow, within 2 towns of each other. That's fairly impressive. But Indonesia is just really not spreading as much as we kind of would hope they would. The Khmer massively being pushed into a small space between India and China and Indonesia as well. So the Khmer probably on their way out. Maybe alliance is keeping them safe. It looks like India might be at war with them still. So it's all kicking off in that direction. Flipping now to the British Isles, where you can see London and England have actually, until 2 turns transpire and Manchester falls, have actually managed to unify almost the British Isles. Armagh still a little bit there, and you can see Spain very cheekily just grabbing 1 tile on Ireland there. Very strange. But Scotland out of the game, couldn't survive, unfortunately. I think against the combined navies of Norway and England, it was just too much for them in the end. Armagh looks like it might fall to the Spanish, actually. With a frigate off the coast and a knight inland. Yeah, Spain might actually get somewhere. But a lot of these are European states still in the game. Well, I mean, Poland is out. Unfortunately, Poland got taken out by Russia. But Germany and France, still both in the game. Rome, Greece, all still in the game. All with 1 city, pretty much. Oh, Greece picked up 1, but let's face it, they're going to be knocked out soon. And actually, we're in 1876 AD and Rome still has Legion, which is very cute. But we won't judge them. I'm amazed that Rome haven't been taken out of the game, especially because Rome have Mont St. Michael, which is a fairly decent wonder. It's incredible they haven't been taken out of the game just yet. Spain, actually, of all the European powers, probably doing the best. They've very sensibly spread onto the northwestern coast of Africa, where they've got a couple of city-states they've picked up. Carthage might actually flip soon, but a lot of these, Barcelona's been put there, but okay, they might end up losing these cities to Nubia, unfortunately. But Spain at the moment doing all right. Took over Lisbon, unified Iberia, and have, been pushing out a little bit. Somehow as well, Norway, still in the game, with crossbows, and Russia there with tanks on the border. I mean, Russia very much in control of Finland, I think this is, on the far edge. Yeah, I'm amazed that Norway is still in this. They've got berserkers still. Berserkers, I mean, come on. It's just quite cute. And no nation can hold on to these three states as well. Both of these Preslav and Mainz keep flipping repeatedly. No idea why they can't be held onto. Now, I like any game that involves a strong Russia, because you know how much I love Russia as a Civ in Civ 6. It's the yellow, the additional religion bonuses, the extra tiles. they are the best. They are just the best. And actually, Russia really having a good go at spreading across and taking pretty much all of Russia in real life. I mean, they've kind of been stumped for maybe about half the land, but to make up for that, they've got a lot of Europe, so they're in control of Krakow and Russia here. Scythia, as well, has been swallowed up into the Empire. Georgia, keep retaining independence. We'll see how long they last against that, but Russia, I get the impression that they're not playing the most aggressive game, and actually, when you consider all of these great people, there's writers and artists and I think there's a merchant in there, and all these great people just sitting around. There's even an engineer. Culturally and economically, Russia is playing a very strong game here. If this was a culture or religious playthrough, you don't help but get the feeling that, they would be pretty good. And actually, you can see their religion. So they've Eastern Orthodoxy is their religion, I think. I can't know. Is that the holy site of it? I swear sometimes it tells you the holy site, but okay, we're not going to get that, unfortunately. But Eastern Orthodoxy, I think, spreads all the way through Europe. It's also into Africa, up until the point where Sikhism kind of spreads in, and it's starting to get pushed over here as well. So a lot of cities being spread into that religion. Generally speaking, Russia playing a very strong game. But the problem for them is, apart from maybe Georgia and a couple of these European cities, a lot of the threat is sort of Korea, China, and India, who we'll go into those in a little bit, are very strong this game. So we've spoken about the Middle East, but you can see here in the sort of Iranian, Iraq, Indian sort of peninsula, somehow Persia is still in the game. They've only got 1 city, but it's a good city. They do still have immortals, which is incredible. Like, how nobody's flattened Persia, I have no idea. Especially India, who just really loves getting involved with local neighbours. They have inventory. India have infantry. Chandragupta could just walk those infantry into this Persian city with 58 strength. The infantry have a base 70 strength, so why they're not doing that, I don't know. But actually, India, of all of these sort of civilizations, is doing the best. They have managed to unify India, apart from sort of Sri Lanka over in this direction, which Indonesia controls. But generally speaking, they've managed to unify most of the Indian subcontinent, and they've pushed up here into these lands, which I think is sort of, what's this, sort of Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan in this direction. It's a little bit difficult. It's very difficult with all of these sort of things on the map to tell who's who. But yeah, India very, very strong, managing to push in, but they've very much reached a roadblock to the north of Russia, which again, I guess they're not going to go to war with. But how they haven't taken out Persia and then going for Sumeria and Babylon and all these cities, I just don't know. Actually, Babylon was under their control and we've just lost it, so yep. No, I'm not sure about that one. Korea having a very strong game as well. Now, Korea are not incredibly expansive, but they have managed to grab a little bit of land, yet again on the Japanese mainland, but with mechanized infantry just wandering around. You can see that, yet again, Korea is having a very strong science game. And actually, China does have infantry, so they're not a pushover, but China, the much smaller nation, I mean, if Korea were to decide to push out, they would very much be swallowed up. And actually, you can see Mongolia has been taken out of the game, so Mongolia swallowed up into Korea. I think, well, from memory, what happened is very similar to other games we've had, where Mongolia has been warring everybody around it, and doing quite well for a lot of the game, up until the point that Korea get their Hwachas. And at that point, Hwachas versus Mongolian cavalry, the Korea just win, hands down. So yeah, fairly impressive from Korea there. I'm just trying to see if anyone else has been knocked out of the game. We've talked about Arabia that way, but generally speaking, no, everybody else is still in the game just. I mean, as I say, the Khmer and Persia both on one city down here, so really being squeezed. But generally speaking, China coming out of this reasonably well, India pretty well, and Korea very well. And we love to see it, but Japan has been unified, apart from kind of like a little tiny bit here. And you can see that Japan is still in the game, which meant that I could load up this game again. I've been able to autosave it. It's been great. Good on you, Japan, for being able to sort of hold into the game. Now, I would be interested to see what Japan would do if they were playing like a normal civilization. I don't know who my AI would be. We've got to have one settler AI. Maybe Australia have been really boring, so put them on it. But I mean, Japan might settle up into Hawaii this way. They might try and settle onto America. A lot of the early game, like this area down here, this coast, nobody settles on this coast, so maybe Japan would go after that. There's all this land up here. This is the sort of thing that computers love. Coal up to the north. Yeah, they easily could have done that. Actually, no, Japan have coal as it is. But yeah, I'm very impressed that Japan has managed to stay in the game. So one thing that it's fun to do is to have a look and see which is the biggest city we can find. So you can see Madrid, population 15. Generally speaking, if a civilization gets lots of land and manages to stretch their cities out a little bit, they can get a decent population. I mean, Russia, you can barely tell because there's just so many things in the way, but population 13 for Russia there. India are normally pretty good at getting big cities. Let's have a look down here. What have we got? 15. Population 15. Is that it? Is that it? 16. Oh, the Khmer have 16. Can we raise 16? Oh, Indonesia with an 18 there. That's pretty good. 19. Okay, so Indonesia winning at the moment. What about Australia? You've got a couple of cities now. No, too many deserts for Australia to get too big a population. That's probably fair. China as well, known to be getting huge populations. No, doesn't appear. So did they do? They've also been managing just to hold on to sort of the Tibetan area, but, well, just for now. What about Korea? Korea could get some good population? No, nowhere near. So at the moment, population 19, the biggest city in the game. It's amazing actually, the Deity AI packs so many cities into such a small space. Cincinnati 17 down there. That, generally speaking, they just can't get the population. Also, have you seen how much rainforest Brazil has chopped down? Like, there is almost none left. This game is almost too real. Africa, not known for its incredibly large population cities on true start location games, just because of all the desert tiles. No, it doesn't look like it. So yeah, I think Indonesia with a population 19 city is our winner at the moment. That's fairly impressive. And I think in terms of tech, Korea are the ones that I think are in the lead. I can see mechanized infantry there, and I haven't seen, to my knowledge, anything else in that area. You can see, yeah, so who are the superpowers right now? I think Brazil. Brazil has got to be a contender for being best, just purely on the number of cities and the unification of the continent. And they've also got a lot of tech as well. You can see tank armies, helicopters, lots of high-powered tech there. Where are all these battleships going from? Oh, well, Brazil are going to war with Nubia at the moment. That's quite cool. Yeah, good for you, Brazil. So if Brazil can start taking over Africa, that would be fairly impressive. America, again, another contender. The Kree, I think the Kree have got a lot of cities, but I feel like technologically they are behind, so I would have to put America over them. You can see just, again, tanks and helicopters and this sort of thing would be good. Oh, China, don't go after war with Japan. No. Boo. Nubia have got to be a real strong shout for strongest in the game, but again, tech levels just aren't quite there. You can see pike and shots and field cannons and knights, as opposed to, you know, mechanized infantry, so maybe they're not doing as well. Russia culturally, I know, are doing fantastically, and you can normally tell that because when you look at the borders, yeah, look at this, just on the northern borders here, see the cities go all the way out here in terms of the tiles that they own, so that's fairly impressive. So Korea, yeah, technologically they're advanced as well. I think these are going to have to be the people, so I think the winners of the game at the moment, Korea, Russia, Nubia, Brazil, and America. So I think it's about 5 cities at the moment we've got to keep an eye on. But there's lots of loyalty issues going along here. Barcelona and Carthage, Spain just lost both of those. So are they going to flip to Nubia, or will Spain be able to take them over first? I think probably the latter. Cairo, I think that one's going to... Loyalty not changing. Oh, 3 cities want to keep that one. Fair enough. So, I mean, Nubia, I'm surprised hasn't gobbled that one up just yet. Yeah, Nubia could be in a stronger position, actually, a way stronger position. They could just pick up more of these cities and maybe wipe out the Zulu, which they could do. They've got the arms to do it. It's just a case of, you know, galvanizing yourself to do it. Oh, Rome actually taking wall damage here, so looks like Greece and Rome might be at war. And actually, Rome have lost all of their units. Have we seen the end of Rome? Is that what we're watching right now? But anyway, that's interesting, isn't it? It's turned 160 now. It takes so long to film these because you just have to leave the game on for so long. So I'm gonna call this here and maybe come back at maybe turn 200, something like that. See how the map's changed. But until then, thank you very much for watching. This entire playthrough has been so much fun, but also so infuriating because, my God, Civ does not make anything easy. It's just the patch and the screwing around with the game, and anyway, I've got the World Cup to film soon. I'm gonna film that either today or tomorrow, so your votes have come in on the heats, and I'll be going through those, which will be good fun. And yeah, we'll have a look and see what other projects we can do after that point. But again, thank you very much for liking and subscribing and commenting, and the massive upsurge in sort of just viewership over the last couple of months has been really, really amazing. So thank you very much for watching yet again. If you haven't subscribed already and liked every single one of my videos, then how dare you? But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.